Hello and welcome. Let me know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? I love seeing how far this spiritual community reaches. Today, we're diving into something powerful. What happens when you finally let go of your old identity, and how that instantly shifts your reality. This isn't fantasy. It's deeply connected to the observer effect, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your life the same way again. Make sure you watch until the end. I'll be sharing a practical tool you can use right away to begin shifting into a higher version of yourself. This represents your former self. The recurring thoughts, the emotions you repeatedly experience, the memories you refuse to let go of. As long as you hold on to this, your current reality remains unchanged. The burden you carry is not always something tangible. Often, it is unseen. A quiet weight that has stayed with you for years. You feel it as a tightness in your chest every morning and hear it in the inner voice telling you, do not expect too much. It shows up in the behaviors you vowed never to repeat, yet find yourself doing anyway. This presence resides within your nervous system, your body chemistry, and your everyday small choices. It goes beyond a simple past event. It acts like a repeated tune stuck on endless replay. Your old self continuously echoes while your goals remain waiting. Paused. Here is an important truth rarely shared. You cannot embrace a new life while remaining connected to the energy of your past. Many fail to understand this, attempting to change by altering their thoughts, imagining a different future, or writing down their desires. Beneath all of these efforts, they remain unchanged, waking up with the same emotional state, clinging to the same story, and expecting the world to transform, even though their energetic essence is identical to the person they were yesterday. Let us be clear. That identity, your former self, was created for one purpose: survival. It was shaped through experiences of pain as a response to rejection, failure, and disappointment. You did not consciously choose it. Rather, it was a reaction and a protective cover that became second nature over time. When you become comfortable with it, you forget it is a mask and it starts to feel like your true self. But what if it is not? What if the inner voice telling you that you are not ready or that it is too risky is not real, but simply the echo of a past version of yourself you have not yet let go of? Quantum physics reveals an astonishing truth. Reality does not exist on its own. It reacts to the observer and your state of being. You are not separate from the field, you are the field taking shape. So each time you wake up and embody that old identity, the universe responds by giving you more of the same. This happens not because you are unlucky or failing, but because the field remains faithful to coherence, and you are the tuning fork. You do not create what you desire, you create who you are being. That is why this journey is not about transforming into someone new, but about releasing everything that you are not. The old self tries to keep you safe, but safety is not what your soul yearns for. Stagnation is not your fate. That heavy persona forged by trauma, shame, failure, or rejection is not the self who inhabits the reality you have seen in your highest dreams. That future world already exists, not far ahead, but in a parallel vibration and a frequency you must align with rather than chase. Here is the difficult truth. You cannot tap into that reality while emotionally attached to your past. You cannot keep reliving guilt, bitterness, or doubt and expect to grow. You cannot show up today as the person you were yesterday and expect to change a reality you have never experienced. So what will we do in this video? We will break this cycle. We will meet the past version of ourselves, not to criticize, but to release it. We will recognize the lessons it has given us and then let it go. Together, we will enter the quantum field not with mere words, but through vibrations. I will guide you to dissolve the energetic patterns of your past so you can finally embody the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. The field does not ask you to work harder. It is simply waiting for you to tune in differently. You are stuck not because your future is unreal, but because your identity keeps recreating the same reality repeatedly. However, when you shift this perspective, releasing burdens, wounds, and labels, you will witness something remarkable. Life will bend, reality will reshape. the field will respond, not because of what you said, but because of who you have become. Take a deep breath. Something is awakening within you. Are you ready to meet the version of yourself who is already free? Let's move forward. You wake up in the same bed with the same thoughts and familiar inner voice whispering before you even open your eyes, hoping today will be different. But the moment your feet touch the floor, your body has already decided otherwise. Why? Because long before your conscious mind, the mind starts to build your subconscious identity long before you realize it has already taken control. You do not enter a new day as a fresh version of yourself. Instead, you step into an older version once more. The body holds on to this version, not simply as a memory, but through biology itself. Emotions transform into neurochemical cycles, and behaviors turn into automatic responses. Over time, you cease to truly engage with the present moment. You continuously replay past experiences until the now feels less alive and more like déjà vu. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza, by the time you reach 35 years of age, 95% of who you believe yourself to be consists of ingrained behaviors, emotional reflexes, unconscious routines, deeply rooted attitudes, convictions, and ways of seeing the world. In other words, the majority of what you identify as yourself is not really who you are, but programming, conditioning. It is the previous self dominating your reality. Bruce Lipton further explains that the instant you alter your perception is the instant you rewrite your body's chemistry. This means that your chemical, emotional, and energetic state shapes the reality you experience. This explains why change often feels so challenging. You are not merely attempting to adjust your thoughts, but rather trying to break free from the emotional dependency your body has formed toward a particular version of yourself. This self anticipates failure, braces for abandonment, and doubts its worthiness for greatness, not due to a defect, but because long ago it accepted the belief that aiming lower was safer. You did not choose to live like this. Yet, at some point, your system concluded that pain was familiar. And what is familiar eventually feels safe, even when it causes harm. This is the true prison. Not the external world, but the identity we hesitate to leave behind, even if it makes us unwell, even if it robs us of happiness, even when deep inside we understand it is not who we genuinely are. So let me ask you kindly, without judgment, which emotions do you experience most often? Is it regret, anger, shame, insecurity, or doubt? What if those feelings are not accidental? What if they are habitual? What if your body craves those signals because they support the chemical identity of your old self? If that is the case, what kind of reality do you believe this emotional frequency is drawing to you? Here is the harsh truth. Most people never face the fact that your old self is not merely a memory. It acts like a magnetic force, and the quantum field responds not to your affirmations nor your vision board, but to the emotional pattern you carry around the clock. You may claim you desire love, but if your default belief is "I am not enough," you will push away closeness. You might imagine abundance, but if your emotional foundation is fear, you will unknowingly shut down chances, not because you are undeserving, but because your nervous system has not yet upgraded to the version of you that is open to receiving. This explains why you can study all the books, attend every course, chant all the mantras, yet remain stuck, because healing goes beyond the mind. It is vibrational, embodied, and rooted deep within our cells. First, we bring attention to this pattern not to judge or criticize it, but to acknowledge it. Understand that who you have been is not a permanent state. It is a practiced vibration, one you can choose to stop repeating the moment you decide to disconnect from it. This process is not about self-loathing, but about freeing yourself. It is about granting permission to release the burden of the version of yourself that existed only to survive a world that no longer exists. Here lies a profound paradox. When you begin to observe your former self without merging or identifying with it, when you view it from the perspective of your higher self, you become the witness. In terms of quantum mechanics, this shifts everything. The observer causes the wave to collapse. Once you become conscious of your old self as a pattern, you are no longer that pattern, but the awareness watching it. This consciousness is the first glimpse of light into an entirely new reality. Now, I invite you to engage not merely by liking or subscribing, but more profoundly. Take a moment and type in the comments the phrase, "I am ready to release the version of me that no longer matches my future." This is not a ritual or fleeting trend, but a declaration, a deliberate break in the cycle, a message to the universe that you are no longer bound to the past. If this resonates with you, let it be your starting point. If you have consumed something ancient, something sacred, something awakening, then I encourage you to subscribe not only to this channel, but also to this new vibration. This space is not centered on mere information. It focuses on profound transformation. If you are prepared for this shift, you are exactly in the right place. We have been taught to ask, to believe, to imagine, yet many of us remain waiting for that moment to click, for financial abundance to come, for the ideal person to appear, for a significant breakthrough to finally take place. When it does not happen, we start doubting ourselves, questioning if we are doing something incorrectly, if we are blocked, or perhaps if we are not meant for greater things. But what if the issue is not that your dreams are too grand, but rather that your vibration remains too familiar? Here is an essential truth often missing from most manifestation teachings. The quantum field does not respond to your words. It does not react to your vision board, nor does it pay attention to what you declare you want. It only reflects one thing, your state of being. This is the principle of vibrational coherence. In quantum language, coherence means when your heart, mind, emotions, and actions move in harmony. This is the energetic yes the universe awaits, not the yes you jot down in a diary or speak aloud once every morning, but the yes you truly embody, feel, live, and maintain consistently. You cannot manifest beyond your frequency. The field does not register, "I want abundance." It responds to the energy you carry. Sometimes you hear the words, "I am not enough," replaying in your mind throughout the day. If that is your constant feeling, it obscures the vision of your ideal life from within. Fear dulls the awareness of your longing for love, when your emotional foundation is loneliness, envy, or low self-worth. This is not because the universe is harsh, but because it is precise. Imagine the quantum field as a mirror. You cannot lift your hand and expect the reflection to lift the opposite one. A genuine shift within is necessary for the reflection to change accordingly. The challenge is that many try to manifest their desires while stuck in their current identity, using the present self as a filter to reach a timeline meant for a completely different version of themselves. The future you, living the life you dream of, does not simply think in new ways. They are transformed. Their feelings evolve, their presence changes, they enter spaces differently, and their words come from a profound place. This version has moved beyond wanting and hoping to fully embodying what they seek. To explain it more scientifically, every thought you entertain sends out an electrical impulse, and every feeling you experience emits a magnetic vibration. Together, your thoughts and emotions act like a vibrational broadcast, similar to a radio signal continuously sending a message to the quantum field. Importantly, this message reflects not just what you want, but who you truly are. So ask yourself, what frequency are you emitting? Is your inner energy aligned with the reality you claim to desire? Or are you still sending signals of scarcity, fear, doubt, and impatience, while attempting to tune into a timeline founded on gratitude, trust, and happiness? Imagine attempting to listen to an inspiring symphony, but your radio remains stuck on static. That is exactly what it feels like when your former self tries to connect with a new timeline. This process is not merely about positive thinking, which is just a surface-level approach. It is about an energetic reality. The universe or the energy field does not react to the words you say. Instead, it responds to the state of your nervous system. A profound concept from Heisenberg and the observer effect reveals that the very act of observing transforms possibilities into realities. However, here is the surprising part. It is not only the observation itself, but also who you are during that observation that determines what becomes real. Neville Goddard expressed this perfectly when he said, "You are not manifesting, you are selecting. And the person you are being is the one doing the selecting." Let this idea settle in your mind. Attracting a future is not about pulling it toward you, but tuning into it, choosing it, and becoming aligned with it. The reason you cannot align with something your current self has never experienced is that the transformation must occur within. You must evolve into the version of yourself who effortlessly draws in what you have been pursuing. Outcomes are not pulled towards you. Instead, you lift yourself up to match them. This is precisely why manifestation without inner identity shifts feels like an exhausting effort of pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. You are attempting to create a future on the shaky foundation of an outdated self. No matter how magnificent the vision or plan may be, if the base has not changed, the entire structure is destined to fail. So the critical inquiry becomes this: are you ready to transform internally so that the future you desire can genuinely become your reality? What truly matters more than any vision board is identifying who you must become to match the vibration of your desires. Not sometime later, but right now, in this very moment, through your thoughts, feelings, actions, and embodiment. When you transform into that aligned version of yourself, the universe responds immediately. Not always in physical form instantly, but through energy, signals, meaningful coincidences, and sensations. You will recognize this because a subtle pull will arise, indicating you have connected with something genuine. You will no longer feel like you are struggling endlessly, but instead experience being exactly where you need to be, doing what feels right as the truest version of yourself. This is the point when the field starts shifting. Are you ready to meet your future self who already exists? There is no need to invent a new identity. It is about recalling who you really are. A version of you lives fully in the frequency of everything you have ever wanted. Not a distant, idealized self or a hypothetical version, but a very real, vibrant self present right now in the quantum field. The only barrier between you and this self is your current vibration. This idea might feel revolutionary, but quantum physics has shown for many years that reality is not linear. Time is not fixed, and you are not moving along a straight path from one point to another, slowly becoming your future self. Instead, an expansive, infinite field of present moments exists all at once, accessible based on what you choose to tune into. In quantum terms, this is known as the multiverse. In spiritual terms, this divine potential we speak of carries the same message no matter what name you give it. The version of you that is flourishing, healed, empowered, and magnetic is not something you are moving toward in the future. They are already present, existing on a different frequency, a unique vibrational pattern, and in an altered state of being. Your role is not to pursue that self, but to close the gap between your current state and who they are by aligning your vibration with theirs. Let us take a moment because this is more than just abstract thought. It is profoundly practical. Consider this. If your highest self were already residing within you, how would they think, breathe, move, or engage with strangers? How would they manage finances or confront uncertainty? Would they still be trapped by doubt or replay past pain from rejection long ago? Would they accept less, believing this is all they deserve? Absolutely not. Your higher self operates from a place of trust, harmony, grounded confidence, and magnetic serenity. They do not create outcomes through struggle, but attract them effortlessly through coherence. Their energy communicates before any words, shaping every aspect of their experience, from relationships and health to life's purpose. Many fail to recognize that the universe does not shift simply because you feel worthy. It shifts because you resonate. Resonance is not something to be earned by pleading. It is something you embody. That is why the most profound transformation you can experience today is not external, but deeply internal. Choosing to stop clinging to the old narrative and begin resonating with the new one is not because that reality is physically present yet, but because you have made a conscious decision to meet it energetically first. You move forward and then the path unfolds. Now let us dive deeper. Close your eyes and picture yourself stepping into a room where the version of you that already embodies the life you long for stands before you. Sense their presence, not as something far away or mystical, but as someone familiar. Because they are you. They have always been you, merely waiting for you to remember. Observe how they carry themselves. The relaxed ease in their shoulders, the brightness of their eyes, the clarity in their tone. They do not try to prove anything to anyone. They emanate authenticity. They have released burdens, burnt old scripts, and dismantled the part of themselves built on fear. In its place, they have invited a fresh identity to take form. Now ask them, what did you release to become this free? Because the new self does not arise from accumulation, but emerges through subtraction. It is revealed by stripping away layers of conditioning, suffering, and facade, until only the essence, soul, truth, and alignment remain. This is the transformation. You are not becoming someone different. You are recalling who you truly are. You are not creating a new reality. You are tuning in to one that already exists. And here is the magical part. The very moment you cease identifying with the old vibration and begin to resonate with the new self, the entire field shifts. At first, you might suddenly experience a thought that you have never entertained before. A surprising reach towards something your former self would have ignored. The more you allow yourself to follow this inner current, the stronger the new pathway becomes. You start to observe meaningful coincidences and opportunities appearing because you are no longer tuned to resistance, but to openness. Here is the most beautiful aspect. The old self does not need to be destroyed. It only needs to be retired, appreciated, and released, since it was never wrong. It was simply outdated, like an operating system that kept you functioning, but not truly free. So let it go and step into the self that already understands how this story concludes. The self already aligned with the future you once thought you needed to pursue. You are not attracting this new life. Instead, you are harmonizing with the version of yourself who is already living it. Are you prepared to meet them? Let us not merely speak about change, but also feel it and become it, because no amount of information, insight, or guidance, no matter how profound, can transform your life unless it is fully embodied. This is the moment when transformation becomes genuine. This is when the new timeline solidifies through deliberate rituals, energetic affirmations, and holistic commitment. Right now, you will lead yourself into a quantum reset of identity, not through force or struggle, but by dissolving the identity that no longer supports your future and embracing the one that already does. Let us begin with the first step, which is to name the old version of yourself you are struggling to release. You cannot let go of something you do not acknowledge, so assign a name to your former identity. It might be a single word, a nickname, or a symbol that represents the person you have been, the one caught in a cycle of fear, doubt, and limitation. Perhaps it is the skeptic, the perfectionist, or the person who gave up too soon. Choose whatever name comes naturally and own it. Now address this identity directly and express gratitude because it protected you and helped you get through difficult times. However, this is not the self that will guide you into the future. Moving on to the second step, which is the ritual of release. Imagine carrying that old version of yourself like a heavy backpack, weighed down with memories, stories, and repetitive habits. Visualize yourself pausing, setting this burden down somewhere safe without destroying it, simply letting it go. See yourself walking away, feeling lighter, taller, and more clear-headed. By dismantling this energy that once held you captive, You create space for a fresh, new frequency to take its place and uplift your entire being. The third step asks you to embody your new self fully. Take a moment to reflect on who you are now in this present time, either standing or sitting. Adopt the body language of the self that already lives in harmony, the one that trusts inner guidance, exudes calmness, and no longer chases after what used to be elusive. How does this version of you breathe, speak, observe their environment, and respond when challenges arise? Step into this identity completely and let it reshape your experience. Finally, in the fourth step, solidify this transformation by anchoring it with a statement. Recite affirmations that embody your new reality, reinforcing your commitment to this empowered self. This declaration will strengthen your intention and anchor these changes deeply within your subconscious mind, ensuring that you move forward with confidence and clarity, not through mere mechanical action, but with full presence, embodiment, and conscious choice. I no longer fall into the past. I reconnect with my authentic self once again. I no longer collapse into who I was before. Allow these words to become a frequency, not simply a repeated phrase. Let them penetrate the old patterns. Let them resonate deep within your cells. You are not just speaking them, you are becoming them, because every cell in your body, every atom within your being is attuned. And even more importantly, the surrounding field listens as well. As you begin to vibrate as this new version of yourself, the field starts to shift and rearrange possibilities that were hidden before begin to come to light. People aligned with your fresh energy start to show up. Your external world does not change because you pleaded for it. It shifts because you have transformed into someone new. You are now moving in harmony, and that harmony forms your new reality. Here is the final insight. A ritual is never merely a single action. It is a gateway, a frequency you return to each time the old self attempts to reemerge. It does so not to undermine you, but to be recognized, to remind you that you have surpassed it. Every time you consciously choose anew, you strengthen this fresh vibration. This is your daily practice. Every morning before the day begins, ask yourself, which version of me will recreate reality today? Make this choice deliberately, with love and strength. By doing so, you do not simply alter your own life. You reshape timelines, and the effects of this decision ripple through the quantum field like waves, transforming what is possible, not only for yourself, but for everyone. When you transform your life, you reset your sense of self and let go of your past. You step into the present as a new version of yourself, shedding who you once were. Reality begins to reshape itself around your true essence, not in some distant future or after months of effort, but right now. The change does not start later. It begins the moment you shift inside. Perhaps for the first time in a long while, you are sensing that lightness, that curious blend of calm and potential, that inner voice telling you something has indeed changed. This is no illusion. It is reality responding to your transformation. Reality has always been more flexible than we were ever taught. It is not fixed or stubborn, but fluid, vibrant, and waiting. Not for you to chase it, but for you to connect with it. This is the way quantum manifestation functions. You do not pull your future toward you. Instead, you rise to meet it. You embody the vibration of the life you want to live. And according to universal laws, the outer world must adjust accordingly. This is not magic, but mathematics. Your vibration creates the framework of your reality. And when your vibration adjusts, your life must adapt as well. Look around you. Nothing may appear altered yet, but you have changed, and that by itself transforms everything. From this moment onward, every thought you entertain, every feeling you embrace, and every belief you hold either aligns you with your expanded future or draws you back into old patterns. The choice has already been made within you. Now the true work begins, not just in theory, but in real life. When an old feeling surfaces, you will realize this is not truly you. It is merely a leftover trace. When a familiar pattern attempts to repeat itself, you will pause and affirm, I no longer fall apart like that former version of myself. When fear softly calls, you will meet it with awareness. When doubt arrives, you will take deeper breaths, speak with gentleness, and act from a place that the previous self never accessed. You are no longer transmitting from the past. Your signal has shifted, and this transformation brings consequences. Beautiful, beyond imagination, and soul-expanding. Some effects will be immediately noticeable, such as newfound clarity, elevated coincidences, and people appearing in your life in unexpected ways. Others will be more subtle but just as genuine, like a sudden harmony, ideas flowing effortlessly, or moments that seem divinely timed, confirming you are finally moving alongside your authentic self. Now, as we conclude this sacred space, I want to ask something deeper than just a like or a subscribe. If this video stirred something within you, if it reminded you that inside exists a self that is not broken, not hurt, not trapped, but infinite, radiant, and whole, then leave a mark in this space. Make your presence felt and communicate not only to me, but also to your future self. Right below, the old me has been released, and let it serve as your signature, your energetic mark sent into the quantum field, a ripple, a vibration, a declaration. And if this moment felt like more than just content, if it felt like remembering who you truly are, then come further, closer. This is more than just a channel. It represents a frequency, a sanctuary, for those navigating collapsing timelines and ascending into the versions of themselves they were meant to embody. So subscribe not only to remain connected, but to keep coherent, aligned, and elevated. Because the true transformation is not merely individual, it is collective. The greater the number of us who resonate with our highest truth, the more the world begins to mirror that reality back to us. You are not isolated in this experience. You belong to a field of awakened beings embracing their quantum essence. Now that you have recalled this truth, forgetting it is impossible. The old self has fulfilled its role, while the new self is already living the forthcoming chapter, and reality, it is listening. We will meet again in the next timeline.